So app services are the part of the PaaS offering, platform as a service, and they help us to deploy the web application, the mobile backend, which you can create with the help of APIs. And behind the scene, the app services uses the virtual machine. These use virtual machine, but these virtual machine we cannot access. Means we cannot take the RDP as we can take the RDP for the virtual machine. And the app services support the manual scaling and the auto scaling. So based upon the uses, they can automatically auto scale to themselves. And app service can be used to host Java-based application, Node.js, Python, PHP, .NET, and various other types of application we can host with the help of app services over here. And in the app services, there is no upfront cost. You don't need to pay in advance. Based upon the uses, you have to pay. Even there is no termination fee at any time. You can shut down it and stop the billing. And the app service is having the per second billing option. So based upon the uses as per second, they will charge. So when it is coming to the web apps, they provide the PaaS offering, which already explained to you, where you can deploy the web application and the API. And web apps support the manual auto scaling. This is a service level agreement. They are offering 99.95%. They having the support for custom domain deployment slot. So the benefit of deployment slot is here when we are working on a real application, there we having multiple environment. So like we having the dev environment, we having the testing environment, we having the staging, then we having the production. So those environment can be easily created with the help of deployment slots. And it is available for Windows and the Linux, and even it support the continuous deployment from the GitHub, Azure repo, and the Git repo. So from there, the continuous deployment can be done. And let's create a web app so that you having the more clarity about the options. So I'm just creating here a web app. So what I'm doing here, I'm just going to have a resource group. So let's create a resource group. I'm just using here, let's say DNT RG is my resource group name. Then define the web app name. So let's say web app name is DNT app 101. Then you having the two option, either deploy it as a code, either deploy it as a Docker container. So about the Docker container, I will give you the brief introduction. Even I will show the deployment style as well. So let's leave it as it is, code. Then we having the runtime stack, let's say .NET 5, .NET Core 3.1, 2.1, ASP.NET 4.8, 3.5. We having the Java, we having the Node.js, PHP, Python, Ruby. You can find out we having the different framework releases available here. So I'm just going to deploy here a .NET 5. So I'm using here .NET 5, and based upon the runtime stack you have selected, you having the option to select the OS as a Linux, to select the OS as a Windows. Because the .NET 5 application we can deploy to the Linux as well. But if it is a ASP.NET 3.5, ASP.NET web form and MVC 5 application, they can be hosted only Windows machine, not on the Linux one. I can use one of them option, then select the region. So region can be US, India, like whatever you like. So I'm using here US, and this is my the Windows plan. So whenever you are going to create your web app, you need to create a Windows plan. In the Windows plan, you will have to decide how much RAM, how much size you need to host the application. So these are the various plans are available. So they are suggesting us by default the standard S1 plan, where you will have the 1.7 GB RAM access. And this will be the A series machine, and this would be the monthly estimate for running your application. Similarly, you can have this plan as well. So these are various plans. So based upon your uses and requirement, do select one of the plan and start using that one. So I'm just using here the S1 plan. Let's go to the next option, that is about the monitoring. If you're willing to enable the monitoring, so for enabling the monitoring, you can enable here application insight. So application insight will help you to look into your application code. like which code, like which uh, section of your application code is taking more time. So when you're making the request to ASP.NET Core, so at this action label is taking this much of time, and these are the requests which are going to be failed in the past. So that complete application insight can be enabled from here. If you don't need, you can disable it. So let's say I'm making it enable, it's yes. Then we having the tags option, which we use for grouping purpose. So I'm not doing any grouping here. Let's go ahead, review and create. And before creating it, you can verify all the details, all the changes, whatever you have done in the previous screen. So everything is looking fine to me. Let's click on the create button. So it is started the deployment process for the web app. So here you will find out this is our resource group name. This is the URL we have using which we can access it. Let's open it. It will show us a landing page, default landing page added by the Microsoft itself. And here we having the option like of deployment. So when you will look at the deployment options, so various deployment options are available. So we can deploy it from the Azure repo, GitHub, Bitbucket, local Git. We having the option to deploy the code from OneDrive, Dropbox, FTP server you can use over there. So one of the deployment option you can use even directly from Visual Studio, the deployment can be done to your web app. So I will show you the way how the deployment can be done directly from the Visual Studio. So I'm just opening my Visual Studio, and what I'm doing here, I'm just going to create a new project, and here I'm just going to create a ASP.NET Core web application. Click on the next button and define your project name, define the location. So location wise, it's on desktop. Then it's a web app, ASP.NET. I'm just going to deploy here a ASP.NET Core 5.0 application. So I'm using here this MVC template I'm selected, and make sure you have selected .NET Core and the ASP.NET Core 5. If you have not installed the .NET 5 SDK, so this option you will not find out. Please download and install it over there. And other support I'm not enabling. I have just unchecked all these checkbox. So now let's test it in my local machine first. If it is working fine, we will proceed further to deploy it to the cloud. So it's working fine locally. Let's do right click and publish the code to the cloud. I'm using your publish option, and we having here this Azure publish option. Do select this one. Then you will have the app services for Windows, Linux, container. Okay, so I'm just using here the Windows one because at the time of creating the app service, we have used the Windows one. So what are the web app we have created? Now we can find out here. So from here, you having the option to add multiple accounts. So you can see there are multiple accounts in my case also. So I'm using this one. And here I have defined the configuration as release .NET Framework 5.0, and this is a site URL where it's going to be run. And this is a new profile has been created. And this profile, it is saved locally. If you will look at here in the properties option, a published profile folder has been created. So from this location, it's going to use it. So this is the profile name which is available here. So every time if you're willing to change the thing, so you have to create a new profile. This option to create a new profile. Here, one profile again added. As it's added for 101, it will add it for 102 as well. So it profile name, it's already created over there. Let me publish by clicking on this publish button. If you want to edit, you can edit it as well, because sometime you need to modify the changes, you modify the things. So the edit can be done. Now it's running fine. So initially, actually, it's having the issue with the .NET 5. With .NET Core 3.1, you will not have such issue. So it's running fine, and it is running with the production slot. Actually, this is the thing you can understand over there. So when it is coming to the traditional web hosting, so in the traditional web hosting, we need a physical server. Okay, there we having the operating system, where we having the web server, but the user is responsible to manage the things. Then we having the app deployment over there. If you're using the cloud, in the cloud, we having the VM on this physical machine, and on that VM, we deploy our application. This is also the way, like we just kept the VM on this physical server, and on this VM, we have deployed the application. But if you're looking at in the web app, this is the style you will find out. So they having behind the scene, the physical machine, they having more than one physical machine. This way you will find out. So actually here they having the VM actually behind the scene. And these VMs are the part of the service fabric cluster. So Azure used service fabric cluster for managing its platform. So forget about how the service fabric cluster behind the scene Azure use. It's Azure internal management, its internal way. So with the Alpha Service Fabric cluster, we are just going to deploy our web app. So this is the web app service they having, which is running on the top of Service Fabric cluster. Now into this web app, we are deploying our application. So this is the under the line, like behind the scene, Microsoft Azure is going to manage your web app. So it is using Service Fabric cluster. Their web app is running, and at the web app label, you are going to deploy your own application. But if you're taking the example of traditional hosting, like in the virtual machine, we use this one. So what are the physical machine we have? There we create the virtual machine, then we deploy the application over there. So for database, as we created the database last time, so that database provide us a connection string. Through that connection string, we can connect. Okay, so then we having the web app deployment option. So Visual Studio 1, I already told you. But we do want to deploy the things manually, so we can go ahead with FTP one as well. For FTP, you can use FileZilla like any other FTP client. So this is my FileZilla, which I can show you. How many people use the FTP? So this FTP option. Let me copy the FTP host detail. There's option here to create a site, file site manager. And here I can create a new site. So let's say it's your site name. Let's say my site, its name is my site. Define the host, username and password. So let me go for the username. This is the username here, and password. So password we need to create. Open the FTP dashboard, and here we having the option to copy the password. Let me copy the password and do mention here. Now to this website I can connect through my FTP. So now you can see the connection has been made. So this is the site folder where actually we have deployed the code. So this is the www root folder where we having the complete code. So we having the DLL, we having the exe, and we having the everything which is going to deploy it through the Visual Studio. So now from a local machine, you can deploy anything over there. Let's say I'm just going to deploy this txt file. Click over there, upload. It will upload the txt file. It's uploaded over here simply. Similarly, if you want to download, just do right click. There's option download. It will be downloaded. So from the FileZilla, if you like the traditional style, so the traditional style can be used. And if you're looking at the configuration, if you're willing to change the configuration by looking into the configuration option, you can change the configuration over there. So these are the general settings are available for changing the .NET runtime stack 3.1, 3.5, 4.8. So one of the version you can select here. There's a platform. If you want to enable the remote debugging, so from here the remote debugging can be enabled if you're willing to debug your hosted web app code from your local machine. And this is the setting we having for default document. So when you are looking for when you're making the request, if there is no code deployed over there, so which page actually you are willing to open in which sequence. So this is the sequence is available over there. Even you can add a new document as well. So we don't have any, this static file, so we can leave it as it is. Even by default, they're having a hosting start HTML file, which is the part of your, this one, this is the hosting start.html. If you want to delete, you can delete it here. It's not actually required because code we have already deployed over there. It has been deleted now. So I'm just going to create a new profile here because first we need to deploy it to the production. So I'm just using here, even you should delete it. You should never deploy directly to the production one. Always deploy to the development one. So I just deleted the previous one and I'm just going to deploy to the deployment slot development one. Publish it. So guys, if you look at here in the development environment, everything is working fine. So this is my dev URL where everything is working fine without an issue. And this is my production one. So in the PaaS offering, the best thing is they actually behind the scene fix the things for you. They having such things. So you can see it's a dev environment, it's production one. Similar way I can deploy to the staging also. So I'm just using here staging. But usually we don't prefer to deploy the thing the staging to directly. We do the swapping. But obviously if after doing the bug fixing, if you're going to deploy to the staging, so to do it from your local machine itself, there is option publish and create a one more profile. And here I'm just using here the same, but this time we will select the slot as staging. Let me do one change so that you will identify. Okay, staging change I have done. That's fine. I just change the label so that you will understand it. Staging. Click on the publish button. From the setting, it can be configured easily. There is option configuration. At the configuration label, you can define your database connection string. So there is option application setting. So here you need to define your connection string. Okay, let's say I'm adding a new connection string, DB connection. Okay, define your connection value. So let me mention my connection value. So let's say this is the connection values like this way. Then type SQL Azure, PostgreSQL or SQL Server. Let's say it is a SQL Azure. And here I can select is it a deployment slot setting? So obviously it's a deployment slot setting. It's application setting. You're having two types of setting, a setting which is applicable to the deployment is slot only, a setting which is applicable to the application label. So it will move from one environment to another environment. But if it is a deployment slot setting, it will be reside only to this deployment slot. So obviously every deployment slot will have the different connection string because the production will have separate database, the production database, the staging database would be separated and the testing database would be separated. Okay, so this is the way how it can be created. So now the same name I can use in my application to read the connection string directly from here. We have done the deployment to all the three things.